In a world shadowed by war, two souls find light in the unlikeliest of places. All the light we cannot see is a story of survival, connection, and the beauty of human resilience. Part 1, The Story of Marie-Laure. Marie-Laure Leblanc's story begins in Paris, where she is born into a world of light and color. Her father, Daniel Leblanc, works at the Museum of Natural History. He is a devoted father who encourages her curiosity about the world, even though Marie-Laure's sight is deteriorating. By the age of 6, she is completely blind, and her father teaches her to navigate the world using her memory and her other senses. They move to a small, quieter neighborhood after Marie-Laure's sight worsens, and her father creates an elaborate wooden model of the neighborhood for her to learn to navigate. Her father's devotion to her is steadfast, and despite the blindness that affects her, he provides her with the tools to live independently. However, with the onset of World War II, Marie-Laure's life takes a dramatic turn. The Germans invade Paris, and Marie-Laure and her father are forced to flee. They leave behind the city they love, traveling to the coastal town of Saint-Malo, where Marie-Laure's great-uncle Etienne lives. Her father carries with him an invaluable diamond known as the Sea of Flames, a legendary gem that has a mysterious history. Daniel hides the diamond, intending to keep it out of the hands of the Nazis, but soon after they arrive in Saint-Malo, he is arrested, and Marie-Laure is left in the care of Etienne. Part 2, The Story of Werner. Werner Heisenberg's story unfolds in Germany, where he grows up in a coal mining town. Werner is a gifted child, particularly in his ability to understand machines and electronics, but his origins are humble. He is raised in an orphanage after his parents die, and his only family is his younger sister, Jutta. Werner is intelligent and curious, and when he discovers a book on physics, it sparks his desire for knowledge. His abilities eventually catch the eye of Nazi officers, who send him to a military school that trains young boys to become soldiers. The school is harsh, and Werner is indoctrinated into Nazi ideals, but his academic brilliance allows him to rise above the rest. Werner is recruited into the German army, and becomes a part of a unit tasked with locating and eliminating resistance radio operators. His technical knowledge makes him an ideal candidate to track down these underground radio broadcasts, and he is soon sent to France as part of the German occupation forces. In Saint-Malo, he is stationed to track down the resistance and finds himself tangled in the horrors of war. Werner is faced with moral dilemmas as he navigates the brutal reality of the war and is forced to confront the consequences of his actions. Part 3, The intersection of their lives. As the war progresses, the fates of Werner and Marie-Laure gradually intertwine. Werner is stationed in Saint-Malo, just as the Allied forces prepare to liberate the town. Marie-Laure, now living with Etienne, is unaware of the impending battle as she struggles to survive in a city under siege. Etienne, a former resistance fighter, is hiding a radio that has been used to communicate with the Allies, and Marie-Laure becomes involved in his efforts to broadcast messages. Marie-Laure's daily existence is shaped by the war. She is often left alone in the dark, her blindness making the external world even more isolating. Yet, she finds solace in books, particularly a novel her father had given her, which tells the story of a young girl and her relationship with the Sea of Flames diamond. The radio becomes her lifeline to the outside world as she listens to the broadcasts that Etienne clandestinely sends out, and as the siege of Saint-Malo intensifies, her world becomes smaller, more fraught with danger. Meanwhile, Werner is sent on a mission to locate the resistance members in Saint-Malo. As the siege begins, his team is caught in the chaos of the bombing, and Werner finds himself in the ruins of the city, trying to find his way to safety. In the midst of the destruction, he encounters Marie-Laure, who is alone and vulnerable. He is moved by her courage, her blindness, and her calm in the face of the horrific events around them. Werner's encounter with Marie-Laure marks a turning point in his character, as he begins to question the values he has been taught and the orders he has followed. Part 4, The destruction of Saint-Malo. As the war reaches its climax, the siege of Saint-Malo intensifies. The city is bombed heavily by the Allies, and both Marie-Laure and Werner are caught in the destructive forces of war. The bombardment destroys much of the city, and the two protagonists are thrown together by the randomness of the war. Werner's unit is decimated, and he is left wandering the rubble, questioning his role in the conflict and the humanity of his actions. He is deeply affected by the war's toll on civilians and begins to struggle with his own conscience. Marie-Laure, who has been hiding in Etienne's house, is forced to navigate the chaos of the siege. She is unaware of the larger battle raging outside, but she senses the danger all around her. As Werner searches the ruins of Saint-Malo, he finally comes across Marie-Laure. He helps her escape from the dangers of the bombing, and their brief encounter forms a bond between them. Although their meeting is brief, it is a moment of connection in a world that has been ripped apart by war. They share a fleeting but meaningful connection, two souls who, for a brief moment, find solace in one another's presence amidst the horrors of war. Part 5, The Aftermath and Reflection. The novel concludes with the end of the war. Werner, deeply scarred by his experiences, is captured by Allied forces and sent to a POW camp. He survives, but the emotional cost of his actions weighs heavily on him. Marie-Laure, now an adult, reflects on her life, on the people she has lost, and the long road of recovery. The narrative circles back to the idea of memory, the light that endures even in the darkest times. The light of human connection, of small acts of kindness and courage, becomes a symbol of hope amidst the devastation. Marie-Laure's survival is a testament to resilience. She finds peace in the small acts of daily life, and the memory of those she loved. Werner, too, grapples with his past, finding a way to live with the mistakes he made and the people he harmed. The war has left indelible scars on both of them, but in the end, they find a quiet resolution. The story of their lives is one of survival, of the human spirit enduring in the face of unimaginable loss, and of the light that still exists, even in the darkest of times. Conclusion. All the light we cannot see is a haunting, poetic exploration of war, survival, and the ways in which people navigate a world that seems to be tearing apart. Anthony Doerr's lyrical prose brings to life the complexities of human emotion and the quiet moments of grace that exist even in the most horrific of circumstances. Through the alternating narratives of Marie-Laure and Werner, the novel reminds us that even in the darkest times, light, whether in the form of memory, love, or simple human connection, can still find a way to shine through. Thanks for joining us, where every story sparks a new journey and every word carries a world of meaning.